Oppa Gundam style, everybody, and welcome to Wow Cool Robot, a podcast about Mobile Suit Gundam. I'm Max, I use he, him pronouns, and with me today are...
I'm Dan, I use he, they pronouns.
I'm Yuria, she, her.
And we have begun our counterattack, let's say. Our counterattack to a 30-minute ONA, and that's it.
We only have 30 minutes before the comet strikes, and that comet is bad Gunpla Mafia, guys.
Yeah, it's a 1/144 scale Axis, and, you know, honestly, even if it was 144 times smaller than Axis, I'm pretty sure it would do a decent amount of damage to the Earth. It's no Chicxulub impact, but we gotta stop this damn thing. If you couldn't tell, dear listener, huh?
It could level up an entire park.
Oh no, that's where I walk my dog. Damn, we gotta stop it. So we're watching Jim's counterattack, or it might actually be GM's counterattack. I know the whole thing is like, it's either GM or Jim, whether you prefer to pronounce it one way or the other. But the GM, I guess, stands for either like the Jim Mobile Suit or the Gunpla Mafia. So I guess you could say it either way. Did we like it?
It was neat, yeah.
It went really hard for a series about Gunpla, so it is very appropriate for build fighters. I liked it.
Yeah, it feels like a last goodbye, you know? It's kind of like when it's like you play Persona and then, you know, you get like Persona Royal or Persona Golden or whatever, and it has like that extra third semester, and it's like not a whole semester, it's like, you know, a little bit more content, but it's enough to just kind of like tie a nice little bow on top of it. And
I would definitely describe OVAs as sort of the DLC of anime.
Yeah.
So I think in doing like just here's one last thing with these characters before we move on to like the next series, I think it accomplishes that.
Right. We bought the Gundam Build Fighters Deluxe Edition on sale, which means it just comes with the DLC, which is why we're covering it. This was made... Hold on, I have the wiki page pulled up for this. This was made in 2017, so this is made a decent ways after Build Fighters aired, because Build Fighters aired in 2013 in Japan. I guess, like, I don't know why they went back to it. Maybe to kind of, like, link Build Fighters and Build Fighters Try, because I think, like, the very end is a reference to the beginning of Try. I wouldn't know, I haven't watched it yet. But regardless, we're watching this as part of Build Fighters because it makes sense, and it follows exactly after the end of Build Fighters. Honestly, look, the main thing is they just did it so they could sell more Gunpla. Like, that's the reason.
2017, wow, that came out way after Try aired, so yeah.
Yeah, no, they're just like, you know what? What's Meijin Kawaguchi III up to? Let's go check in on him. Let's explore more of the Gunpla Mafia, and not C, because C's been arrested and is in jail, but we got some other ones. Well, I have a little summary written up for this. So here's what you missed on Gundam Build Fighters, Jim's Counterattack. It is 1 year after the 7th Gunpla tournament, and the Gunpla Fight International Referee Committee is trying to track down certain individuals all over the world. Takeshi Iori, Chinon, and even Ramba Ral are unable to capture anyone, though. As they travel the world, everyone else from the 7th Gunpla battle meets up in Yajima Stadium, where the next tournament will be held. As they check out the facility, the power is cut, and the shadowy organization Takeshi is tracking reveals themselves. It's the Gunpla Mafia! They challenge the fighters to a live-streamed battle in an attempt to show their supremacy by winning through cheating. Sei, Kawaguchi, Mao, Fellini, Nils, and even China enter the battle gauntlet, and the Gunpla Mafia is set up for them. No. Enter the battle gauntlet, whatever. Whatever. One by one, they get split up and have to fight off individual members, until Sei makes it to the top of the arena and is forced to fight his own stolen Build Strike Cosmos Gundam, before the leader of the Gunpla Mafia reveals an even scarier suit, the Psycho Jim. He shuts off all the Plavsky particles controlling the fighter's Gunpla, and all seems lost until Reiji appears out of nowhere using his own Arista to power up the Build Burning Gundam and defeat the Psycho Jim. Takeshi arrives to arrest the Gunpla Mafia, and it's revealed that the leader of the Mafia was none other than Chairman Mashita's brother. After everything's wrapped up, Reiji has one more order of business to take care of. He and Sei need to have their final battle. As they begin their ultimate showdown, we fade out and skip ahead to Sei's graduation the following year. He checks on the Gunpla Clubroom one final time as we finally end Gundam Build Fighters.
Oh.
The end.
The end. Until the next one, you know?
Until they decide like 2 years from now to make a sequel to this ONA after everyone's forgotten about Build Fighters.
Uh-huh.
It'll be like Jim's counterattack Beltorchica's children. You would not believe the way I popped off when I saw the Psycho Jim.
God, that thing was so cool.
I love, Dan, you haven't seen Zeta Gundam, right?
No, I haven't.
Okay. In like about a third of the way through Zeta Gundam, they encounter this thing called the Psycho Gundam, which is a Gundam that is twice as big as a regular Gundam. It's 40 meters tall instead of the usual 20. And it's like this horrific thing that flies through and just completely levels a city and just shooting beams everywhere. So when you see like the arm of it pop out and it's just a Jim, like it's a Psycho Gundam painted in that just regular red and white with the Jim visor and everything. And it is so deeply silly. I love it so much. It is one of the coolest Gundam I've ever seen.
Yeah, the Psycho Gundam is also... The high grade is expensive, but I do want it someday because it is also a massive kit.
Right. Well, the crazy thing about the high grade is it's not like that expensive. I mean, yes, it's expensive for sure. And Dan, I posted an image of what the original Psycho Gundam looks like for reference for you. But like, I think you can get the high grade for about $80 or $90, which is honestly less than I would have expected, especially for an older kit that's like not really being reprinted anymore.
I think reprinted it recently. I saw in stores. So
ooh, damn. I gotta find it then, because like I have the what is it, like the Hazel Osla TR1 gigantic arm unit that has a remold of the Psycho Gundam's arms and just the arms, but it still has like the fully articulated fingers, and I think they added more detail to it. So if they're willing to do that, I would love for them to do like a straight up, Psycho Gundam Revive. I would pay more money than I should for that. Or a Psycho Gundam Mark II, which would be even better for me, because I think that thing looks cool, because it's like a pre-Eva unit.
Ooh. Yeah, anyway. I was kind of hesitant about those like more expensive high grades until I got these Sidebuster.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, shit. Paying more for just a high grade still means you get a really good thing.
Yeah, I like those, because it's just like, the Super Robot Wars kit don't really have scales, so we can say it's technically a high grade, but we can just make it as big as we want to.
I mean Gundams are canonically a bit smaller than the usual stuff in Super Robot Wars, but...
I mean, like, my favorite mobile suit of all time is the Nightingale, so I gladly shelled out all the money I needed to for that high grade, and I'm looking at it right now, and it is my beautiful lobster son.
I'm honestly kind of surprised they made it, and it actually works compared to what...
It works so well!
What was it, the full mechanics that came out before?
It was the RE100.
Oh, RE100, yeah.
Which is just bad compared to the high grade.
A glorified statue.
Pretty much. And like, yeah, the high grade, it's the Nightingale. It's not that posable, but you'd be surprised what you can do with it.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Maybe someday I'll get it so I can have it go with my real grade Hainu.
Yeah, I got them a Hainu pose right next to it. Do not separate them, because Char and Amuro... They have a special relationship, let's say.
Yeah.
They're just figuring out their lover's quarrel, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
At the cost of the earth. Well, this ONA begins in London, England, and this single scene here, I think, is the most fascinating to me out of anything we've seen this entire season of anime, is that they're using Plavsky particles to pilot a Gundam to, like, infiltrate and unlock a door and kind of, like, sweep and clear a room. This is the most wild thing I've ever seen. They're doing Gundam Splinter Cell.
You think they would use any Gundam, but no, they're using the perfect Gundam.
Right, yeah, it's because it's Takeshi doing it, but like, I don't know, it would have been even more perfect if he was using a Jesta or something like that. Some kind of like darker color infiltration style suit. Regardless, it is so funny to me that you see the Gundam fly in through a crack in the window and it unlocks the door.
When I saw this, I was like, is this going to be about living Gundam or something?
That would be so good, though, wouldn't it? I mean, I guess that's what, like, all of the SD anime is, where the Gundams are just, the Gundams are the characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But we see Takeshi, he bursts in this room, and there's no one to be found, and he gets a Skype call on his phone from Chinon, who mentions that he's elsewhere in the world tracking down this same organization or individual, and... as well, Rambaral is somewhere else, and like none of them can find anything. But they don't know what they're planning or who they are, or I guess I don't know who they are or what they're planning. But none of the referees can find them, whoever these sneaky people are. And then we cut to it literally says like the old world tournament venue. all I can tell, I don't know if it's been torn down or what. I think there's just like this one really big memorial monument type thing. This big, like, you know, swirly metal structure. And the first thing we see is Fellini, like, just hammering a flask. Like, all right, sure, I guess you're jet lagged, Mr. Fellini, but this is not a. I guess you can do this in an ONA because this is not a terribly like appropriate for children moment.
Yeah, there are some moments where you can just do stuff because it's not on TV.
Oh my god, I forgot about that fucking part later. Jesus.
Yeah, I was about to say we're going to get into that.
Gundam, I don't know if I care for this very much. Fellini's day drinking. Yuki comes up and says hi to him, and he's still the Meijin Kawaguchi III, but the only difference is that he's not wearing the duster. Like, he just has the cool glasses and pushed back hair, but it's like regular Yuki's clothes.
He's even more Quattro.
Yeah! His sleeves are rolled up, which is, I guess, a one step away from them being torn off entirely. I think he should tear them off entirely because it's cool to do that, especially if you have Quattro Vagina glasses. But, you know, hey, that's what the second ONA they're going to make in 2027 is going to be about. So, you know, they talk about epic moments from the show that we just watched that we don't need to, you know, remember because we're not recording this 4 years after the fact. But Nils shows up and he's wearing his usual kimono, or that's not a kimono. What is it? What is that outfit called? Not a haori.
I don't know what it's actually called. It's his usual, like, traditional Japanese clothing, even though he's American.
Right. Yeah, the early genius. They all head to Yajima Stadium, which is the holy site of Gunpla battle. Because as we know, in the year between the ending of the show and this ONA, Nils and Caroline developed Plavsky particles in space, and the Yajima Corporation is now running Gunpla battle, so they're able to animate Gunpla again with these. So they go inside, and they check out, and it's, you know, this cool, it's all red on the inside, and it's all nice and fancy, and they show off this kind of large-scale battle arena, which I guess they did, like, large-scale battles in the show, so I don't know what makes this so special and different, but I guess you can just have a whole lot of people kind of taking part in it for this one. It could, you know what, it might very well be something from Tri, like, and this is just explaining why Tri battles are different than Build Fighters battles. Who can say? Not me. All the kids show up. Sei and Mao and China show up. And Fellini looks at the kids and is like, well, you know, it's a year later. How come none of you look any different? Why are you not growing? Are you drinking your milk?
Yeah, they just need to collectively have a growth spurt later. It's not enough. It'll happen. Don't worry about it.
Fellini, we haven't gotten the funding to design new character designs for us yet. We gotta look like this.
We can't make a whole new set of designs just for an OVA.
Right, yeah. This is 33 minutes of footage. We are not making, like, brand new designs for half of the cast of the show. No way. At least Fellini is, like, an adult, so he just looks like that already.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very cute, and, like, even Mao laments that, oh, he's not growing up, so he's not going to be able to catch up to Misaki. He's still just totally down bad for her.
He's going to become a manlet.
A Mowlet.
Oh
no. So
also, Mao, you coward. Tall women are great.
Tall women are great, Mao. Come on. So and Mao, like telling the gang about how there's some big exhibition battle tomorrow, and he's playing for keeps with his new Gunpla. And even Fellini mentions that he also has a new machine that he's going to throw out. Meijin does too, and everyone's really happy that they can, you know, finally enjoy Gunpla battles after last year. And Nils mentions something. He's like, oh, you know, I'm retired from Gunpla battle, but I'll take part in this just so I can see all of your progress. And everyone just kind of goes, you like Gunpla battles, don't you, Nils? You just want to have fun. And of course he does.
He does.
It's not like I like Gunpla battles, Baka.
Yeah, it's not. Honestly, he's Gunpla tsundere. Sei says I'm going to use my Bill Strike Cosmos, and he reaches into his Gunpla holster to show it off, and of course, it's not there. And he flashes back to when he and China were at some Gunpla shop, and he's like kind of, you know, oohing and eyeing over a diorama of that one shot from the original Gunpla series at Jaburo when Char Zagok just straight up donuts a gym. Mm-hmm. And honestly, if I had a diorama of that, I would also just be kind of like staring at it because it's a very cool moment. It looks really cool.
I might have to do that, because I'm nearly done building my real grade Zigong.
That's right. Yeah, this episode is very, like, prophetic for you with what Kawaguchi uses. It's just, the Zigak is such a wonderful, delightful suit because it has no business looking like that.
And the real grade is like, if, like, a lot of the real grades are just straight up Gundam, so this one being like, you know, it's a Zeon suit, it's much more different. It's not as Zaku, because I had trouble with that. This one just feels so solid.
I think my favorite detail on that are the arms, the way it kind of like this sort of hexagonal paneling on the arms, or maybe it's just square paneling, but it is there's a really cool detail all over. I mean, again, it's real great, so you have to pack in a lot of detail, but I think that they really got to get nutty with it because it's the Zagok and it's such a out there design. He's just a funny little guy. I like it.
It's great. I still have to build the arms, but
yeah, get them claws. So Sei is staring at this diorama, and some guy bumps into him, and that's when Sheena's like, oh, that guy must have been stealing your stuff. And, you know, before they can kind of figure anything about that, the lights all shut off and the shutters close, and Nils sees that there's no wireless signal, and at this point the lights turn on the very middle of the arena, and the Gunpla Mafia are back. Not C again. It's brand new Gunpla Mafia, and I think only 2 of them actually use code letters. It's like E and J, and then 3 of them actually have names.
They're new. They have to earn their letters.
Right? Yeah, it's like Men in Black. You have to prove yourself, and then you get to erase your identity, and you get one of the letters of the alphabet. It's a very small roster in the Gunpla Mafia, but you've really got to earn your keep. Once you're part of those 26, you're in. So they talk about how they're streaming this match, and the Gunpla Mafia are going to control not only the underworld, but the mainstream stage as well. They want to stop the relaunch of the Gunpla Championship for some reason, and I guess by defeating like all the best fighters from last year, they're going to prove that they can do that. Regardless, you know, they all have the reasons to do it. Of course, Kawaguchi says that it's his duty to stop them. Of course, Sei has to do it because he's the champion, and Mao's doing it because he wants to look cool for Misaki, which is the best reason of all.
Yeah.
Like, he could care less about the sort of global ramifications of them shutting down Gunpla. No, he has to look cool for his girlfriend. That's what really matters here.
I can excuse the criminal activity, but I will not excuse looking uncool.
Yeah.
For my girlfriend.
You can excuse the criminal activity? And of course, Sei has contingencies for everything because his main Gunpla was stolen, sure, but he has a new one. The Star-Burning Gunpla. Look, I didn't much care overall for this build, the strike build. This thing's cool because again, it's based more on like the Burning Gundam. I guess it's more the Shining Gundam. Honestly, more so the Rising Gundam specifically, which is like the kind of one-off military use suit they had in G Gundam. But again, this is based more on G Gundam than Seed, and you can kind of see it in the face. The face is quite different. It has sort of the Shining Gundam style V-fin instead of the Strikes V-fin. And it's all red, which, again, I really like when Gundams do that thing of just kind of flipping the main color scheme around a little bit.
Yeah.
It gives it a fresh new look.
It's a very neat style. I like it.
Yeah.
And apparently it's supposed to bridge into the Build Burning Gundam that appears in Try.
Right, yeah. I think this is like part of the reason why the ONA was made, of just like, we gotta explain something. I don't know why they felt the need to do it. Maybe it'll make sense when I watch that show, but they set the field, the Plavsky particles disperse. It's a really interesting looking thing. It's like the jungles of Jaburo, or what look like, it's Amazonian rainforest, I guess. And then you have this gigantic colony that's kind of like, not exploded, but it's like a derelict, rusted, ancient colony that's been crashed into the earth. And there's this weird, gigantic kind of like super ornate door into the mountain that Gunpla Mafia explained. They have to enter inside, and then they have to make it to the top of the tower. So they do. Everyone sets their Gunpla. And we get to see everyone's new hotness. So, of course, Sei has the Star-Burning Gundam. Mao sets the Gundam X Jumao, which, what is this one based on? I have it right here. This is the Gundam X, obviously. And, it just says it's a combination of the crossbone. I guess because, it has the big X on the back that's kind of based on the crossbone. It's just more of a Gundam X Mao. It's nothing like super crazy. Fellini sets the Gundam Fenice Liberta, which I will say looks cooler than the Rinaskita from last episode. Not as cool as the base wing Fenice, because, again, asymmetry is very, very cool to me.
Yeah.
But this one's very cool because the wings are kind of stored on the hips, not the back. It deviates a lot from the base design, which I think it kind of starts wrapping around to looking more like its own unique thing to me, which I like a lot. Nils sets the Ninpulse Gundam, which is based on the Impulse Gundam, which looks nothing like the Impulse Gundam. It's just, it is sharp. It is hard to look at. It's like a white, red, black, yellow, green color scheme. It has a wildly ornate V-fin based on the whatever the hell his red frame was, the Sengoku Astre. Weird backpack, just a kind of a mishmash of a lot of things. I don't really care for it, but again, it does the Astre thing of the feet look like Adidas or Nikes or something, which makes it very funny.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, Kawaguchi III sets the amazing Zagok, which, delightful.
I love the Zagok, and I'm really glad he went to this tournament with the Zagok. It's great.
He's playing to win. Which is, it's just a Zagok, really. Like, the feet don't look that different, but the arms kind of, the arms have spare, like, boomerang claws and a bunch of thrusters and guns and stuff. It's just basically like a Zagok, and you strapped as many weapons to the hands as you could.
Ah, yes, the Digimon evolution.
Yeah, right? Dang, this thing is really cool looking, though. Oh, it was a P Bandai exclusive back in 2017, which means you can't find it anywhere anymore.
No!
Oh, P Bandai. Nemesis of my life.
Yeah. Especially what happened with, what was it, Gundam Rose?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And they even a couple days ago, I think, put it up for sale. And of course, 30 seconds after 9 p.m., that thing was gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Once they dropped the Neo Malaysia Skull Gundam, that's when it's really my time to shine. The Gundam that has toes. So they all fly in, and Fellini wastes no time in just firing a Buster rifle into the door, and they all fly through it. And the first floor of this tower is the moon. Every floor kind of has a different theming based on a different, like, battle arena they've been in the past.
It gives me Saint Beast vibe from Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay, yeah. It's like, it feels very JRPG of just like, the Gauntlet of Trials or whatever the hell. And as you're going through a tower and like everything, it's like, remember all the bosses that we fought? We fought them in their arenas again. So the first one's the moon, and Nils, as the gang goes through without really any struggle, Nils hangs back and fires at nothing, which is actually a gym that was using some kind of like disguising shroud. So he destroys this gym, he cuts through it, but then like the guy controlling him, who is named this one is E, I believe, his codename E. He just says, "Oh, you think this is the only gym I was controlling?" And like about 20 other gyms uncloak and all kind of converge on Nils. And I thought from here on they were going to fight nothing but gyms, which isn't really true, but I wish it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like have someone using, have them use the riders, which I guess are still gyms deep down. Red Rider, Pale Rider, White Rider, Black Rider. I guess they hadn't designed half of those until this point, but regardless, Nils is attacked, and we kind of immediately pan away, and we don't see the result of this yet, because the next floor is this weird, like, rainy, thorny forest full of roses. It reminds me of, like, the Squawks levels in Donkey Kong Country 2, where you're just kind of in, like, this weird nebulous void of thorns. Mm-hmm. And I popped off here, because there's a golden bound dock.
Uh-huh.
Bound Dock is one of my favorite suits. I got the high grade of it, and this thing is just glittering, sparkling gold. It's so cool.
It's diamond coated, apparently.
Yeah. It's at first I thought it was going to be revealed that it was using the same kind of anti-beam coating that Hyakushiki uses, but no, it's a level beyond that. It is diamonds. I ordered a bunch of Swarovski crystals and glued them to my gunplay. You wouldn't believe what happened next.
I need to shout out Riccardo Fellini. I thought it would be on one hand, it's a bit of a downgrade that he's not using the unicycle anymore, but on the other hand, he's now become a transformer.
Yes! He doesn't need the little beam or wing hopper or whatever anymore, because he is his own car! He turns into a bike!
He turns into a bike.
It's so cool, and a bike with beam wheels, no less.
Yeah.
It's so cool, and the Boundock transforms into its mobile armor form as well, and they kind of have a chase. Fellini realizes he's fighting Gawain, who used to be from Team Nemesis. He was the guy with like the rose jacket, which I guess you could have figured out if you paid attention to the show, and I didn't. But he loves roses, he loves beauty, and he taunts Fellini, Fellini taunts him, saying, "Oh, you must have hit rock bottom if you're joining the Gunpla Mafia after being part of Team Nemesis." And Gawain's only reason for doing this is just because he wants money to have the most beautiful Gunpla. You gotta respect it, folks. So the Boundock, it's revealed the Boundock has that beam coating. He can't shoot it. So what Fellini does, he baits out his beam attack and flies underneath him, where the inner bits are underneath the kind of shell of the Boundock, and he pulls out the wheel, and the wheel is a beam wheel because it beheads the Boundock, and then he fires his Buster Rifle into it, and Gawain explodes. And again, we were reminded that this battle is being live streamed because Kirara is watching this in her dressing room, and she just starts hooting and hollering and going apeshit, and like her agents outside are like really startled and concerned for her because there's like this wild grunting and screaming coming from inside the closed dressing room door.
I mean, if I saw a Kung Lao fatality on a gunplay fight, then I'd be that ecstatic too.
Yeah, exactly. Got the finish him prompt. So Fellini gets ready to head on, but before he can, from within the flames, a silhouette appears and fires something at him. And then we immediately cut to Nils, who's cut all the gyms apart, but he's about to get stabbed from behind by one when Sheena comes in her bear guy to save him. She doesn't have an upgraded suit, but I guess that's because she's not one of the Gunpla competitors. This isn't real life.
She's just
the bear guy is already perfect.
Exactly, yeah. We don't need a bear guy 4. Bear guy 3 is the best we could ever potentially come up with as a species.
I do appreciate, by the way, that how many of the different types of GMs are being sent out.
Oh, it's like all of them. I mean, you can even see the one that kind of it's what the Gym Custom 3, which is what became the Jagan. Any Gym variant is probably in this shot. It's so cool.
Yep.
They probably set millions of dollars aside from the O&A because whoever was in charge was just like, how many gyms can we put on screen at once? Can we set a record?
Yeah, I think that's why they named the Gym Kits tie-in the Gym/Gym.
Mm-hmm. Gym. So Sheena saves him, and we cut to the gang who are heading ahead, and there's 3 paths, so they each take one. Mao ends up in a city, and we see some kind of SD Gundam. I think it's some kind of SD Musha type thing. I can't really tell what this is based on the wiki because the list of kits that appear in this episode, all of them are gyms. Oh, here you go. It's the Musha Gundam Mark III. I was right. It is Musha.
Oh.
You can I saw the kind of crescent moon V-fin, and I thought that's probably Musha, and I was right. And we see Nenene is the name of the woman who's piloting this Gundam. And what she does, she takes her trench coat off and jiggles her bodong honkaloos, and Mao goes, awooga awooga foghorn noise.
Mao is fighting a Victory Gundam scene.
It's an OVA. You can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. We're not showing this on TV. We can have just probably the most frames of animation for a scene in this entire O&A goes to just every discrete way Nenene can move her honkers around. I just kind of my eyes glazed over, and I was like, am I watching Gundam still? What happened here?
I will also note Mao just looks different with these new expressions.
Oh yeah, because he opens his eyes, and his eyes are fully open, and she's Skyping him. She's making her the camera also appear in front of Mao so he can see this. And from her end, you see Mao's eyes and a billion windows looking around. It's okay. Look, yeah, it's your battle strategy. That's great. You can't do this shit on TV, I suppose. We cut to something cooler when we see Kawaguchi, who's made it inside the Jaburo cave. So he's gonna do some cool Zgok shit. And we see another Mafia member. This guy's name is Jay, and he is piloting, I think, one of the coolest suits we've seen here, which is the Jim Zgok. Which I'm gonna post an image in the chat just so we can look at it again. it's a gym that's wearing like a Zagok as a torso, basically.
Uh-huh.
It is outstanding. This is one of my favorite things I've ever seen. Like, it is a straight up gym, but basically from like the waist up, it's an entire Zagok style head, and it has the Zagaki arms with just the big fingers, and it is a beautiful thing to behold. I love it so much. And Jay says, just because I'm part of the Gunpla Mafia doesn't mean I don't want a fair fight. Let's have an amphibious battle. And Kawaguchi says, if that were true, then this lake wouldn't be filled with paint thinner. What are you talking about, my man?
Yeah, he just
knows. He just knows.
I fight fairly. Well, I don't. Bonk.
Yeah. And as he begins to attack, we see he has like, oh my gosh, the amazing Zagok just has a bunch of weapons. Like it can throw boomerangs, kind of like the Zogok. It has the shock leader that the Goof has. It has like basically every notable piece of non-Zaku like Xeon technology in its arms. It's really cool. It starts beating Jay down. We cut back to Mao, who's continuing to just get pulverized by this woman, and as he kind of like visualizes himself being like clasped in her hands, he thinks, I don't want Misaki to be disappointed in me, as he kind of like visualizes her saying, oh, Mao, this is what you're into? Huh. And her turning away. So that gives him the drive to fight and just fire all of his beams at once, which like rocket out of the colony that this is taking place inside. As the kanji appears on the beam, Misaki is my life.
Great.
It rules.
Cool.
He's a wife guy.
He sure does love her.
I really hope that like he shows up in the sequel and like, because I imagine, I'm pretty sure Try is like several years later. So I want him to be married. I want him to be a wife guy. I'm visualizing this. I'm actualizing this for Mao. I believe it can happen.
Here's how Mao can still win.
Mao can still win. So Mao wins, Kawaguchi wins, and Iori makes it atop the colony, and this is kind of like desert field. And he's fired on by a gunpla, it's surrounded by an absorb field, and he recognized that absorb field because it is his very own Build Strike Cosmos he has to fight.
Yeah, this is fucking cool.
Yeah! The main Mafia guy, whose name we don't get yet, but when we get it later, it's very funny. He's just using it on autopilot. Like, he's not even piloting it. He just put it on the system and said, go, do
the thing.
And do thing. And it does. It has a cool shield. We don't really know what the Build Strike Cosmos can do, even seeing it in the ONA. Like, it just kind of puts a shield on itself, and it's kind of, like, impenetrable. But, of course, Sei knows, since it's Sei's Gunpla, he built it, he knows all of the quirks and idiosyncrasies with it, so he knows that, like, it lists to the right when it turns, so he's able to kind of, like, put it in a hold, and he's like, because, he won't damage his own Gunpla, of course, but sensing that Sei's not going to do anything to this Gunpla, the Mafia guy activates a second Gunpla, which is my beloved Psycho Jim. It bursts out of the ground. Again, just so cool. Love to see it. Delightful large gentleman. He's attacked, of course. He's like on the back foot. He can't really do a whole lot against the Jim. Kawaguchi appears, which like he fires the boomerangs that cut off some of the Jim's fingers. Mao's laser comes in, which like shoots it again. He because he has to look cool for Misaki, and the Mafia guy just like uses his phone and just straight up disables their gunpla. Like he just turns off the Plavsky particles, and their gunpla kind of like slump over. Not great. Things are looking a little bit dire. Take a sippy. And he kind of reveals that he can just straight up control their Plavsky particles. The Psycho Gym goes. I always call it Digi Egg mode. It's just like the mobile fortress, I believe. It's when the Psycho Gundam folds up and just kind of hovers around and fires beams every which way. Yeah. And he's taunting Sei, and Sei says like, "Oh, even if you beat us, like no one's gonna acknowledge your victory." And the Mafia guy just says, "It doesn't matter. You're gonna lose no matter what." And as Sei is struggling with controls, this is when our friend Reiji from Gundam Build Fighters appears.
Oh, I know that guy.
I remember him. He was from my show.
Never heard of him.
Who's this clown? I honestly didn't expect Reiji to show up here. It's cool that he did, and it's nice. It's a very fun moment. Like I would have been totally fine if they had found a different way to win, but Reiji uses his own Arista crystal to kind of like flow the Plavsky particles back into the build burning. And it plays like an insert song, which is really fun. I love when they do that. And like, you know, Reiji starts piloting and says like, hey, use slot SP3. This is a weapon you'll like. And he kind of reveals like, this is a gunpla I built just for you, Reiji. And he uses the really good system again. This time he glows gold instead of blue. Ooh.
Fancy.
Fancy. And the power this time is the Hyperstar Build Burning Knuckle, which just straight up breaks the Psycho Gem's arm as they like clash fists and just shatters and explodes. Everyone watching the stream is like cheering and hooting and hollering, and like all the Gunpla Mafia are sad and dejected as the gym explodes and like the simulation ends. They all turn, they're like, what should we do, boss? And he's already running out of the arena. It's so funny. He's booking it. Of course, he makes it outside, and Iori is there with other referees to arrest him, and it's revealed he's Mashita's brother.
Yeah.
That's just silly. Not just brother, his twin brother.
His twin blonde brother. It's like, honestly, it's this type of funny thing that can only work in this kind of show, where it's like, oh, and he had a twin the entire time, and the twin was going to run the underworld, and the older brother, Mashita, was going to run the actual, like, you know, Gunpla world, and they were going to have control over the entire thing. So Miki and Mashita is arrested by Iori. They all kind of, like, pile into the car as they're driven away. And, like, Takeshi's driving off. Sei starts to ask Reiji how he came back, and Reiji's like, oh, I just borrowed Isla's Arista. And, you know, Ricardo wants to invite him out for dinner, and so does Mao, and so does Nils. But he refuses, because there's something that he needs to do. He gotta fight his brother, Sei.
They gotta do the fight.
They gotta. And I like this. I thought originally they were gonna fight Kawaguchi, because it's like the same cherry blossom forest. But no, it's Sei and Reiji against each other, but it's still in that cherry blossom forest. It's Star Burning Gundam versus Build Strike Cosmos Gundam. And like they just fight. Like we don't really, it's nothing too spectacular. It's just a lot of like, oh, Sei is like perfectly matched with Reiji now. So he's become pretty damn good at Gunpla battle if he can match Reiji just like that. Like, that's real impressive. They both activate the really good system. They clash in midair. Everyone's loving it and cheering. Like, even Kawaguchi's like yelling. He's like, this is their Gunpla! And they go into their final punch and they yell, this is our Gunpla! And we fade to white. Of course, I really do like when the show does that. When it, like, for a battle where the results don't really matter, where it just fades to white. It's like, you don't need to know how it ended. Kind of like how Yu-Gi-Oh! GX ends, if you remember that, Dan, where it's like, you don't know if he won or not. It's just, you know, you don't need to know. But the final shot is, it's like the graduation day of their school, a year after this. So this is like, 2 years now after the show ended. China asks Sei, we don't see any of this happen. We just like kind of hear this is like narration. China asks Sei where he went, and Sei says, "Oh, I left something behind in the I left behind a memory in the Gunpla Club room." So what it seems like this is from the wiki is like Sei left behind the Gunpla that's going to become the Build Burning Gundam in the sequel. But I thought originally he was just like looking at his trophy. But the really interesting thing to me in this final shot is there is a bear guy that has like it's China as a Gunpla.
Oh, cool! Oh my God, you're right. I'm looking at this.
It's the China guy. What is this? Hello?
So yeah, is this like one of those Gunpla that's just like a person?
It appears to be, because like I'm pretty sure this is a Try thing. I think they're called mobile dolls. Maybe that's it's a future series thing, but it is just so baffling to me that there is just like a Gunpla you can buy that's just China Kosaka from Build Fighters, and it's just kind of like a bear. It's China with a yellow maid suit, and she just has the bear guy's hands and kind of head over her as like a giant hat.
Yep, I'm looking this up. This is a real thing.
This is so strange.
Yeah.
I can buy it for $41.95 from Amazon. I don't think I will, but I could. This is baffling to me.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Although I kind of like, I don't care as much for like the mobile doll aesthetics, but like it'd be cool if they did that for like, I don't know. You could buy kits and it's like their pilot wearing the suit. Like if I could buy Jared Mesa from Zeta Gundam wearing a BR-Lant, that would be pretty cool for me.
I'm looking at these images. It does look like the big bear guy head can come off, and underneath is just like her regular head.
Kind of like the Hello Kitty Gundam
I was
that you
about
can
to say,
pop
yeah.
off. Yeah, I
Now-
have that at my desk at work.
Where did we get the God Gundam with Domon's head? Come
oh
on,
my
Bandai.
gosh, right? A P Bandai $20 expansion pack for the real grade God Gundam. It's just one single runner of Domon's face you can put inside the helmet. I guess they'll be nice and include one for Master Asia too. But
Oh, did you read about the part where you can't fit the God Gundam on the horse without the actual P Bandai thing? Like, if you have
what? That's so really?
Yeah, if you have the horse just from the Master Gundam, then you can't get the real grade God Gundam on it because the front belt thing does not fit right.
That's so wild. Because, like, yeah, I was gonna say I don't have the real grade God Gundam. I don't know if I would really care to get it. If it was a real grade Master, yeah, in a heartbeat. But that's so weird because, yeah, I do have that high grade Master in Foon Psyche, and like I've posted that with a lot of different Gunpla riding it. And even I still have that. I still need to take a picture of like the Sengoku Astray riding it, like what happens in the show. But that is, I mean, look, hey, it's Bandai. They know ways to get your money, I suppose. Still, though, that's a bummer.
Another P Bandai fatality.
I mean, I guess you do it so you can get the Sekiha Tenkyoken orb, and it had the little decal for King of Heart 4711 on the inside.
Oh, that is true. Those are also good expansions.
I want a 144 scale Burger King that appears when I fire that out too. We do the Sekiha level of Tenkyoken. Well, that's it. That's Build Fighters. That's all of it.
Yeah,
that's it.
So what's going to happen next week, whenever we do it? We'll just have some show discussion, talk about what we like and what we didn't like. We have a mailbag, which is I'm going to, I guess, make the post for after this recording. Give people like a week or so to get questions in for us to discuss. And most importantly, we'll have a tier list where I will compile all of like the kind of original Gunpla for this show, and we will rank them and decide which one is best and which ones are bad and belong in the pee poo poo tier.
Yeah,
but
maybe this will incentivize me to finally finish my real great build strike.
Yeah.
It's mostly just the actual like backpack stuff, but
I hope they gave like 10 spare backpacks because one for every time it got destroyed in the show. Well, that'll kind of do it. You know, we don't really have any bits or anything. This is kind of like a shorter wind down episode as we get ready for the big finale next time. So before that though, it was my turn last week. So Yuria, what is your robot of the week?
What did I say for my first time? Because I'm hoping I don't make a repeat.
I think it was something from the show, I believe. I think the first time might have been the Amazing...
Oh, the Gian, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I remember you did, like, the Gian. I think you did another one that was in, like, the episode.
Well, I'm going to shout out one of my favorite mobile suits of all time. One that I posted when I got my back on HRT. Shining Gundam.
Yes.
Like,
Shining Gundam is so nice.
Yeah, like it was the first master grade I completed. It was actually the first Gunpla like I ever owned, although I bought it when it was already completed. And that was like in 2005-ish, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like something about the design I just really love, like the fins on the side popping out, the shoulders popping out when it's going to super mode.
The detail that I love the most is how all the stuff that pops out in the head when it like goes into super mode, like how the face vent opens up and you have the little yellow fins that like pop out from the side of the head. It looks so cool when that's ready.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's like it's one of the ones I love the God Gundam, but I feel like the Shining Gundam is almost just as cool as the God Gundam is, because they kind of do different things.
I was really hoping for the P Bandai stuff they do a variant of the Shining Gundam at least, so I could be like, well, I finally gonna order P Bandai. But alas.
Yeah, Monkey's Paw curls, and it's gonna be like a titanium gold-plated one that's gonna cost $200. They love to do it. P Bandai loves to just make weird coding versions of kits that I simply do not care to buy, because they cost twice as much as they should.
Yeah. Oh well, at least I also got the SD version, which is very adorable and, almost as full featured as the Master Grade, to the point you can fit You can fit the hands between the two.
Right, yeah. It's like, because I got the Master Grade God Gundam and Master Gundam a couple years ago, and it's like, they cost like $18 each, and I'm thinking, that's that little for a Master Grade? And I realized, oh, because it's like a 20-year-old kid that doesn't do anything. It has like rubber hands and feet, and that's kind of it. It's very, very strange. Well, shout out to the Shining Gundam. Shout out to G Gundam. Delightful show. Well, now it is time for us to do plugs as we close. So, right. Dan, where can we find you on the internet?
Hi, I'm Dan. You can find me at a lot of places. You can find all those places at biggerchallenge.card.co. That includes my other podcasts, like Pod of Greed, a Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. We have started on Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, and it kicks ass.
It's so good. It's so good. Card games on motorcycles.
Mm-hmm. You can listen to The Sonic Shuffle, a Sonic lore podcast. We just recently recorded. I've got to edit more episodes, but one that just went up was on some episodes of Sonic X, and we recently recorded an episode on Super Mario Bros. Z.
Hell yes.
You can listen to Video Games, the movie, the podcast, a video game movie review podcast I do with my friend Maxie. Last month, we talked about the 2016 Warcraft film. Next episode is going to be on Final Fantasy, The Spirits Within. You can listen to, WoW. Oh, wait, shit, that's this one. Never mind.
You can listen to WoW Cool Robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you heard WoW Cool Robot?
You can listen to, you can visit my Twitter and Tumblr, which are both Bigger Challenge. My co-host, which is Big Challenges. My art Tumblr, Biggest Art. My Fur Affinity. And at Xbox_holiday, where Usher celebrates holidays with Xbox. Happy Lunar New Year, Xbox.
Year of the Banui.
Where's the Bunny Gundam at?
Oh my gosh, where is the... Actually, you know what? That's all the Advanced Zeta kits, because they're all named after Watership Down characters. The Titans test team made some very cute bunny anime designs to put on the suits, and I like them a lot. This Titans, a lot of fucked up things they did, but that was pretty cool. And where can we find you, Yuria?
I'm on Twitter at YourGalYuria. I'm on co-host at Yuria, which I've been posting on more. I recently made been trying to review some stuff. I even made a review of Wonder Boy: The Dragon Trap remake.
Oh, I love that game. It's so nice.
It is, like, the game itself is, like, certainly shows it's from 1989, but the remastering is so gorgeous.
It is. I like that you can switch between, like, play retro mode. You can play. That's the one that you can play the retro mode, right?
Yep, you can just press the button. It'll switch between graphics, and you can switch the audio as well at any time, because it is just crunchies.
What a delightful game.
Actually, one feature I didn't know about is that you can also enable FM mode for the retro audio.
Ooh, fascinating. Was there anything else?
Don't think so. Unfortunately, that's the thing when 6-3 Cylinder is pretty much done. Don't really have anything else to say for now.
Oh, for now.
Yeah, for now.
Well, in that case, I am Max. I am on Twitter at MaxyBajillion. As Dan mentioned, I'm part of Pod of Greed. We're starting 5Ds, and it is more than I could ever have imagined. It's so much fun. Listen to Slappers Only, my video game music showdown podcast. Next episode is going to be about Final Fantasy XIV and Realm Reborn. We'll make a post of that pretty soon before we start recording it. And this show is on Twitter, Wow Cool Podcast. There's Discord links in the Twitter header and episode descriptions. You can come hang out. You can go as well to noisepace.xyz to find this podcast and many, many more. It's a podcast incubator run by our friend Matt, who is Canadian, which is why we have to say XYZ. And that will do it. So next week, wrap up for Build Fighters, and then I think we're gonna look through our pockets and see if there's any war to be found. So that'll be the series that I do next. But before then, though, Yuri, what do we always say to close?
Buy our toys.
Wow.
Cool robot.
Bye-bye.
Bye.